This is Stephen from TaxSaleSupport.com with another pre-auction deal of the week video. Now, I will be doing today's video alone because Shade is attending a tax deed sale in Oklahoma this week. But it's been a couple of weeks since our last deal of the week video, so we wanted to create a new one for our subscribers and followers. Now, in today's video, we're going to be reviewing an online auction taking place in Washington. Now, Washington is considered a tax deed state. They go ahead and sell the property at auction after a tax foreclosure. So when you're buying a tax foreclosure, you're actually buying the property itself. Now the bidding is going to start at the delinquent taxes, penalties, and fees, and whoever's the high bidder will go ahead and win the property. Now Washington will have both online and on-site auctions, so they have opportunity to purchase either way. Now, before we go ahead and get started looking at the property, we just wanted to go ahead and remind everyone, if you're interested, you like what we do, go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification bell. We'd love to have you join the family. We're going to be putting out a lot more videos. So if you're subscribed and hit the notification bell, they'll let you know when we're putting those out. Now, today we're going to be talking about Snohomish County, Washington. Now, this auction happens June 21st, 2022. Now, it's a tax deed auction happening on bidforassets.com. So let's go ahead and check out some properties. Now, what we're going to do is we're actually going to look at some properties online. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go to the website, and we're going to go ahead and we could go to the auction calendar, but we're going to go ahead and go to the online auctions. We're going to click on the tax deed sales, and we're going to scroll down to the bottom to where Washington auctions are taking place, the online auctions. There we go. Okay, so we can see right now there's only 2 auctions taking place in Washington. We have this auction coming up on the 21st, and then there's also Island County, Washington happening on the 25th. Well, let's go ahead and click on the auction. Now here we can see that, as I mentioned, this auction starts on June 21st. It ends on June 22nd. Now, if you're interested in attending this auction, you're going to need to place a deposit. And that deposit needs to be placed by June 15th, so just a couple of days away. So if you see this video, you're interested, you're going to go ahead and get that deposit in. Now the deposit is $1,000, and there's going to be a $35 non-refundable processing fee. So if you don't end up buying a property, you're going to get the $1,000 back minus a $35 non-refundable fee. Now with this particular sale, it's a small sale. There's only 10 properties available. And let's go ahead and look at some of those properties quickly. So the first property we're going to look at is the second property down. Now we can see this property has a $26,000 opening bid. Let's scroll down and find out a little bit more about it. So we can see it does have an address listed here. We can see it's located in Granite Falls. We can see the size here is 0.26 of an acre. We also have the map here that we can click on, and we also have a title report. That's one thing that's awesome about Washington is they'll actually provide title reports. In addition to providing a title report, they'll also provide title insurance on some of these properties as well. So here you can see this property will come with title insurance, which is one of the big things that tax deed properties, one of the big hangups with tax deed properties is you can't automatically get title insurance. Here within Washington, they go ahead and provide that. Now let's look a little bit more into the property. We're going to click on the map and pull up some of the information. Now we're going to go ahead and have to agree to it. And we can see some of the information up here. You can also click on here to see the property account summary. Now, one thing that's a bit of a red flag as we're looking at this is we can see that there's some type of road that goes directly through this property. Now, that's part of the reason I wanted to kind of show you and use this property as an example. Now let's look a little bit more into the details, and we'll get back to the road that's going through it. So we can see it's undeveloped vacant land, 0.26 acres. We can see it has a value of around $67,000. We can see some additional information down here. It's sold for $43,000 back in 2005. We don't have the sell amounts on any of these other sales. We can also see here in 2011, it looks like it went to the treasurer, and then again in 2016. So I don't know if it didn't, looks like it could have possibly went ahead and sold at a tax sale back in 2011, and then again in 2016. Now I'm not 100% positive, but you can see here the treasurer sold it to Billy, and then we can see, you know, around 5 years later, 4 or 5 years later, we can see the property coming up for sale again. Now that's an automatic bit of a red flag, because why didn't Billy take advantage of buying this property if he did buy it at the tax sale back in 2011? You know, we're not 100% sure on that, but let's look a little bit more into it. So we can have the address listed right here. Let's go ahead and pull up the property. So we can see the property located right here, and with this particular property on Google Maps, we don't see that road going through the property on Google Maps, so that's a little bit interesting. But we can see it if we go ahead and take off this county record, or if we take off the aerial image, we can see that that road goes through there. Now, can you still build on that property? That would be our question. We can see that this property here has that road going through it, but they still have a house on the property. So it could be possible to build on this property. This road may end there or not go all the way through. That's something we're not going to know until actually viewing the property and also contacting the county or city to find out what the regulations would be on this particular lot. So, you know, if it didn't have that, if it was just a normal building lot, I would be pretty interested in it, because we see that it has a value of $67,000. And even though it has a pretty high opening bid of $26,000, there's still a lot of potential profit within that property. So, you know, if we were to go ahead and pick it up, and we know that we can already have a title insurance with it, but let's say we wanted to take it through quiet title. Let's say it's an additional $3 or $4 grand, you know, for $30,000. Now we have a property that's potentially worth $70,000 plus. And that's something we would look into as well, is to see what is the market value of lots that are similar, that have sold, and what's currently for sale within this area, to get a better idea of that potential value. So this property could be a property that you could buy, but there's also a risk that we're going to have to research more before we can really make a determination. Let's go ahead and check another property on the list. We'll check this property right here down below it. This one has a $27,000 opening bid. Now we can see this property here is 0.27 acres. We have an address as well, and we also have that online map. Now, as we pull up the GIS map, we can go ahead and see some of this information. Now, I want to see some of the additional information here. Let's go ahead and click on Property Account Summary. So here we can see the status is land and improvements. So there's not just land. We can also see the code is vacation cabin, 0.27 acres. We can see this property has a value, a tax assessed value of $70,000. We can also see a little information on the property here. It's a one-story dwelling cabin built in 1962. We can click here to get some additional information, and we can see a photo of the property here. Now, obviously, this property is covered behind you know, trees and woods, but we can see a little bit more of the detail here. So as we talked about, it's built in 1962. It's a one-bedroom. Seems to be pretty small, 280 square feet, one bedroom, one bath probably. We can see the outline or the square footage of the property here. So it's a pretty small little cabin property, quite old. You know, to really determine the condition, we would go ahead and do an on-site evaluation before making a decision. But let's look a little bit more into this property. And one thing we want to get an idea of is what is the value of property within this area. So obviously this cabin is going to need serious work. if it's still rebuildable, but there's also a lot of value in that lot. I would imagine that not much of this value is actually going towards that structure. A lot of the value is going to be in the land, because even that last lot that we looked at was valued at $67,000, and it didn't include that cabin property. Now, one thing that cabin property may include is it may include something like having water or power, or even something like a well connected to the property from having a structure on it before. So there could be some benefit of having a structure there before as well. Now, we can't see any type of street view here, so we can't get a better idea from that. Let's go ahead and pull up the property on Zillow and see if we can see some comparables around it. So here we can see it's just pulling up the assessed value. It's not pulling any type of Zillow value or anything. We can see that 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 280 square feet. So same as the county record information that we saw. Same thing here. You can see 1 bedroom, 1 bath, fireplace, 280 square feet. Pretty basic, to really get a better idea of what the structure is, we're going to have to do some type of on-site evaluation. But because it doesn't pull up any Zillow value or anything like that, I want to go ahead and click off that and look at some of the properties here. Now here we can see some properties that have recently sold. Here's a building lot sold for 80. Here's 0.28 acres. So it's very similar to the property that we're actually looking at. In fact, here's this property that sold for 80, and here's this property that we're looking at that's currently valued at 70,000. So that's a little bit interesting. Let's go ahead and check out some of the for sale as well. You can see one property here, it's quite a bit bigger for 160,000. But one thing I want to look at as well is what is some of the homes within the area value. Now, obviously, this is a tiny little cabin property. It's not going to compare to some of these homes, but we can see some of these homes, sold for quite a bit, 423,000, 3 bedroom, 1 bath. Looks like some type of prefab home. Here's another property, 415,000. The one across the street, 409,000. So there is a lot of value in some of these properties located within the area, and we would go ahead and do a comparative market analysis and on-site evaluation before actually determining what we'd be willing to pay for it. But if we are looking at an opening bid of 27,000, let's say that the land is worth, between 70 to 80,000, and depending on what we can do with that structure, that could be additional income on top of it or additional value on top of it. So even though this property has a pretty high opening bid at 27,000, there's still a lot of potential profit within this property, because we're in an area where not only does the land have a higher value, but even the homes have a higher value as well. So it could be a good area to buy property, and where we already have the structure there, that could give us some additional value, or maybe even something that we could fix up and potentially rent out or sell. Now, we talked about how these have the title reports. This can be a big help as well. Not only do they offer title insurance on this property, but as we scroll down it, we can also see additional information, any easements that may be issued on the property, any judgments or liens or anything like that could be listed there. We see the legal description. So we continue to scroll down, exemptions. That's some additional information on it. No, let me scroll down further. So here's some easements against the property. See public utility, electric lines. These very well could be lines actually going to the property. Here's another public utility easement. Public utility. There's the bylaws of this particular area. Some additional indemnits. And there's the property abbreviation. So nothing, really stands out within this particular property. that we see right here, but it's very, very helpful to be able to have that and know that you can offer title insurance on the property, or that you can get title insurance. The one thing about tax sale properties is because of the tax deed foreclosure, most title companies aren't going to issue title insurance on a property. You know, there's some specialized services like tax title services and clear to sell that will go ahead and offer title insurance on tax deed properties, but most counties, most title insurance won't be able to do that. But that is one thing that's different about Washington State. So, you know, overall, this property looks like it has possibility. Let's say it's worth 100,000. You know, picking it up at 27 or 30,000, it really could be a good potential deal. Now let's look at one more property before we go. It is, I believe it's this one. Let's go ahead and check. This property here has an opening bid of 22,000. We see it's within that same area, Granite Falls, 0.22 acre. We have an address listed as well. Let's go ahead and click on the map and pull up some of the county record information. And we'll go ahead and agree to that. Let's see some of the details. So we do have the address listed here, full address, which makes it easy to look up. We can still find the property without a full address using the online maps, but it's obviously easier to be able to pull that up. So we can see the property located right here. We can see that same shape right there. Let's go ahead and click on the image. So we can see the property located right here. Now, one thing as I'm looking at it, it looks like there could be something underneath the tree there. Now, I don't know if that's a shed. I don't know if it's a truck. I don't know if it's a home, you know, but you can see some type of structure there. Now, it's 0.22 acres. Now, one thing I'm going to look at is this lot similar in size to some of the other lots. And so if we look at this lot right next to it, let's go ahead and see how big that lot is. So this lot is 0.16 of an acre. So this lot is smaller than the lot that we're looking at. And we actually can see that there's some type of small cabin property on it. They have the market value at 150,000. And so, you know, we can see, well, at least compared to this lot, and we can try looking at this lot as well. You know, that one's 0.43, so quite a bit bigger. Doesn't look like a 0.43. I wonder if it includes further back. Oh, it's two lots together. That makes sense. It's both of those lots. So one thing we would go ahead and do before buying this is would check to make sure that it fits within the city parameters, that it is buildable. It looks like it could be, but we would go ahead and check to make sure. We can see this property has a value of around 80,000. You can see it sold back in 2013. But as I mentioned, we would go ahead and make sure that this property is buildable before buying it. But if it is worth 80 to 100,000 and the property is opening up at 22 grand, there's still a lot of profit to be able to buy this type of property, take it through quiet title, and be able to sell it for full market value. So, you know, here are some of those different properties that are available within this list. It's not a massive sell, but there is opportunity to be able to go ahead and purchase property and participate within the sale. Go ahead and change this real quick. So hopefully that gives you guys a better idea of some of those upcoming properties that are available. You know, if you enjoy our videos, go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and go over those final details real quick. Get there. Sorry about this. Okay, so this is Snohomish County, happening June 21st, 2022. And the deposit date is June 15th. So if you're interested in attending the auction, go ahead and get registered. If you like our training, go ahead and check out our free ebook at secretsoftaxlieninvesting.com. You can go ahead and click on the link in the description. You can also check out our membership program at taxselfsupport.com. And one thing other that we've just recently added is we have a new YouTube membership program that's available on our YouTube channel, Tax Sale Secrets. Well, you guys can go ahead and see it. I won't go ahead and show it to you, but we're going to be offering some additional training there, free different levels of training. So if you're interested in joining the membership program, if you're interested in free training, all of the links will be available in the description, so you can go ahead and get started. Again, thank you guys for watching this video, and we'll go ahead and be putting out a new one soon. Thanks again.